Paul Gabriel Watson. It was an ordinary day for Gabriel, whose entire life had been spent within the walls surrounding their home. He wanted to catch a big fish from the river and cook a nice dinner for his father. His eyes were fixed on his fishing line, but his thoughts had drifted far away. He knew he was safe here with his father, but he was eager to explore the outside world. He had discussed this with his father many times, but he always got the same answer.
There is nothing but death out there, Gabriel. The old world died with the outbreak. Everything I've told you and everything you've read in books is history now.
His father had told Gabriel about everything. How the Knox Virus decimated the world, the horrors of the walking dead, and the lost old world of mankind. He had been training him since he was a boy, teaching him with the skills needed to survive in this terrifying world. Gabriel believed he owed everything to his father. When the outbreak began, his father had brought him to this fortified base as a mere 10-month-old baby and hadn't left his side for 20 years. He took care of his every need and shaped him into a grounded man. Beyond academic lessons in mathematics, science and history, he had also taught Gabriel trades like carpentry, blacksmithing, wood carving and cooking. That was why catching a good fish was child's play for him.
Gabriel, once you finish up fishing, can you cut down the weeds sprouting along the wall?
Sure thing, Dad. Look what I caught. We're having a feast tonight.
Oh, it's been a long time since we ate paddlefish. Well done, son.
Gabriel expertly filleted the fish he caught, like a true chef, and placed them in the fridge. He then went outside to clear the weeds around the wall. They had everything they needed to survive in their base. They got meat and eggs from the chickens, and meat from the cows. To Gabriel, who had spent his entire life in this base surrounded by high walls, the fate of the world and the humanity felt like a fairy tale. He believed that somewhere out there, other settlements, people and homes just like theirs had to exist. It was hard to believe in doomsday scenarios while living in such a beautiful place. He didn't doubt his father's stories. Of course they were true. But if they had to manage to live here all these years, the outside world must have changed and healed as well. Gabriel believed this was exactly what his father was missing. Gabriel saw himself in the soil. With every weed he pulled, he felt another year of his life being stripped away. How long could he continue to live like this, in the world's most beautiful prison? Was his own life much like these weeds, destined to turn yellow and fade into nothingness? For all his years here, his father had never once spoken of leaving or venturing beyond the wall. Gabriel's trust in him was absolute, because he could read the clear fear in his father's eyes. It was obvious that his father was terrified of the horrors of the Walking Dead and the destruction he described outside. He was also certain that, apart from the space, no life remained in the outside world. Their only life consisted of the wall and each other. Looking out from the walls, Gabriel followed the wilderness all the way to the horizon. Rather than the chaos and destruction his father spoke of, he saw life bursting forth from the earth. He didn't know if the world had always been this way, or if it had become like this after the Knox Virus. In his dreams, he saw himself wandering the streets of the cities he had only seen in books. He looked up at the tall buildings he'd never seen before, and every person he met was smiling at him. He wished he could see those cities from here, even if they were far away, but there was nothing but tall, thick trees. And Gabriel realized that he only felt truly happy in his dreams. A single tear fell from his eyes. He was nearly 21, and his father had raised him incredibly well. He knew exactly how to fight and survive in the toughest situations. So why did his father still forbid him from taking even a single step outside? Why couldn't he just trust him? Lost in thought for a long while, Gabriel suddenly realized something he had completely missed. Until now, he had always asked his father for permission to go outside like a kid. Consequently, his father kept treating him like one. With everything finally clicking in his mind, Gabriel made his decision. He would talk to his father about going outside one last time after dinner. But tonight his father wouldn't be dealing with a boy, he would face a man. For the first time, father and son would have a discussion like two grown men. His dad was a former doctor, and Gabriel sensed that if he could frame his arguments in a way that made sense to his father's logic, he might just win his freedom. Fueled by adrenaline, Gabriel rushed down to the garden to pick some vegetables from the field to go with the fish he was preparing for tonight.
See the ocean, how it sways in the sun. Keeping our stories in its motion, lies the truth about us. Things time will tell, we might never know. We'll be gone before it all begins. Send me your songs of tomorrow. I'm dying to know it all. Stories of joy and of sorrow. I'm dying to know it all. To know it all.
Gabriel carefully set the food down and walked up to his father's door. He He was never allowed inside without permission. As a child, eager to discover the treasures hidden inside, he tried to sneak in a few times while his father was away, but the door always locked. His hands trembling with excitement, Gabriel forced himself to calm down. All I need to do is be myself, he thought. Gathering all his courage, he knocked on the door.
Dad, food's ready. Come on down before it chills.
Gabriel, what have you done now? It smells incredible all the way from here.
Cooked up a paddlefish stew just the way you like it. Better watch your fingers, Dad. It's that good.
Fair enough. Let's dig in. I'm absolutely starving. Bless your hand, son. That fish was incredible.
I'm glad you liked it, Dad. Don't worry. I saved some for tomorrow.
Back in the day, I would have definitely gotten you a job at a good restaurant, working with a skilled chef.
Unfortunately, the old world is long gone. Out there are no people dining in restaurants anymore. Only the walking dead, trying to feast on every living thing they can find.
Gabriel's word caught Duncan completely off guard, like a slap in the face. Duncan stared at Gabriel for a long time, trying to understand this change in his son. No human being could change this much overnight.
Using reverse psychology now, are we? All just to get outside.
If Gabriel had been standing when he heard that, he might have staggered. His father was very smart and could read his every move, but Gabriel had planned his words carefully, ready for any scenario. After all, he was his father's son.
No, I'm not trying to ask for permission. I know there's nothing out there but death and the things you've told me. After all, if there were, you would have gone out before me.
Well done, Gabriel. You're making sense tonight.
But still, I am going out tomorrow for a scouting run.
The second strike hit Duncan even harder. He had opened his mouth, revealing his shock to his son. The tide was turning in Gabriel's favor now. Duncan knew he had to play his next hand.
So you're just ignoring me and everything I say now? Am I not your father, Gabriel? Does my word mean nothing to you? Tell me, what did I ever do to deserve this treatment?
You raised me so well, looked after me, and protected me from everything. I can never thank you enough for that, Dad. You are my father, and your word will always come before anything else for me. It's just the two of us, and if I lose you, I lose everything. That's exactly why it's my turn to protect you now. I have to go out and scout, so I learn exactly what I have to protect you from.
Tears welled up in Duncan's eyes at those words. He still couldn't put his son in danger.
Son, we are safe here, don't worry. We've got enough food and supplies to last us for the rest of our lives. As long as we stay inside the wall, nothing out there can touch us. Your father thought of everything, Gabriel.
Nobody can think of everything, Dad. Not even you. If anyone could, the world wouldn't be dead, and we wouldn't be here in the first place.
The third strike was the heaviest, shattering Duncan's final defense. He was proud that his son had spoken so sensibly, but being looked down upon by his son had angered him. His face went red with anger, but it faded back to normal once he admitted Gabriel was right. Duncan was old. His former strength was gone. Gabriel watched his father closely, not even blinking. He could see that his dad was changing, just like he was. He knew that now was the time to make his final move.
God forbid, but what if something happens to you? What if we get overrun by the walking dead because of some tiny detail you overlooked in your plans? Maybe not now, but 10 years from now, when you're even older? If this happens to us, how am I supposed to protect you? Do you ever think about what would happen to me if I lost you? I can never lose you, Dad.
His dad really was his whole world. Even thinking about losing him almost drove Gabriel crazy. He meant every word he said. Stepping outside would not only allow him to scout, but would also give him a chance to find himself, escaping this prison, even if just for a fleeting moment. Duncan wiped away his tears. He had finally cast aside the mind games, opened up to his son. Carrying such a heavy burden for all these years had worn him down. Truth was, giving Gabriel some of that responsibility was going to lift the huge weight off his chest.
Look at you, all grown up. I'm proud of you, son.
I am only the Gabriel that you raised, Dad.
His dad went quiet for a long moment. Gabriel could tell he was weighing his options, and he took a quiet breath of relief, keeping a straight face. It was a good sign. All he could do was wait. Finally, his father broke the silence.
You will head southeast. It's too early to go west. No firearms. At the first sign of danger, you turn right back, and we will plan our next move together. Keep me updated on the radio. Be silent, and be extremely careful. No stupid stunts. Understood?
Crystal clear, Dad. Tomorrow, I'll prove to you just how well you raised me.
Gabriel fought with everything he had to keep from bursting with joy and screaming out loud. He had to keep it together.
It's late. Let's get some sleep. We've got a big day tomorrow.
As Gabriel stood up, he could no longer hold back his smile. Seeing his son that happy, Duncan couldn't help himself either, and the smile broke across his lips.
Dad?
Yes, Gabriel?
Thank you.
Gabriel had no idea how he was going to sleep with all this excitement. He decided to take a quick walk outside. Some fresh air would calm him down. He had been waiting years for this. Tomorrow was his first time leaving the base, and he still found it hard to believe. Sitting by the riverbank, Gabriel couldn't stop thinking about his dad. His father was a doctor, but he didn't much like to talk about what he'd gone through during those chaotic times when the outbreak began. The traumas he carried were etched into his face, and Gabriel had learned at a very young age never to dig into his father's past. Gabriel's mother had passed away giving birth to him, and he'd been blaming himself for it his entire life. If it wasn't for me, maybe my mother would be here instead, he thought. That's why he had to keep his dad safe at all costs. His mother had died because of him. He couldn't lose his father too. Being a doctor made his dad incredibly logical and rational. Everything was about the cause and effect, always making the right call. Gabriel often wished he could be half as brilliant as his father. In a dead world, it was his father's intellect and foresight that had kept them safe for so long, living completely isolated within the wall. It even built him a little playground when he was a kid. Duncan was not just his father, he was his mentor. Making his dad proud was all Gabriel ever really wanted, and for the first time, he felt like he was actually achieving it. He was never going to forget this night. Both of them had changed this evening, and their father-son relationship had evolved to a whole new level. The fresh air helped. Gabriel felt calm now and knew he had to get some rest. He couldn't start the biggest day of his life feeling tired. He tiptoed up to his room so he wouldn't wake his dad. Changed into his pajamas, set his alarm, and fell fast asleep. Gabriel woke up before his alarm. He jumped right off the bed and started getting ready. The big day had finally arrived. Gabriel was just finishing the breakfast when his dad walked out of his room. Duncan could see the excitement all over his face.
Good morning, son. I see you're all ready to go.
Good morning, Dad. Don't worry. I double-checked everything.
Well done, Gabriel. Let's go to the gate.
For the first time, Gabriel and Duncan felt less like father and son, but like co-workers. Just as they stepped through the door,
Just a second, Dad. Let me grab my spear real quick.
You know I hate last-minute stuff, Gabriel. Anything else you forgot?
I didn't miss anything, Dad. I'm just grabbing it from where I kept it.
All right, if you say so.
Duncan's frustration was at its peak, but he wasn't letting his son see it. He knew the wall was safe enough, but Gabriel needed to see it with his own eyes.
Keep me updated on the radio. Stay sharp. No stupid stunts. Mind the time and get back before it gets dark. All right?
All right, Dad. I'll be super careful. Don't worry. You didn't give me all those lessons for nothing, right?
It's not the lessons I trust, Gabriel. It's you.
Thanks, Dad. See you tonight, then.
Gabriel hesitated for a brief moment as he stepped away from the wall. This was a first for him. For a second, looking at this world from the ground instead of from the safety of the high walls felt incredibly uneasy. Gathering all his courage and stepped out of the wall. Gabriel walked for about an hour, staying alert and watching his step. Gabriel looked back and realized he could no longer even see the high walls of their base. Being this far from home, feelings he had never experienced before began to wash over him. For the first time, Gabriel was feeling true loneliness. He realized that when he used to spend time by himself at the wall, he had only imagined he was alone. Because of his father's presence in the base, he had never truly been solitary. This kind of loneliness felt both amazing and terrifying at the same time. Gabriel felt a strange, amazing happiness inside and realized this emotion was true freedom. Having broken free from his chains, he was roaming through the woods, entirely free for the first time in his life. He could do anything he wanted right now. He held all the strings of his own life, but he still wouldn't dare break a single rule his dad had set. He had been walking for about 3 hours now and hadn't seen a single walking dead. He had absolutely no idea where their home actually was, because his dad had never shown him any maps other than the world and the United States. Duncan had only said they were in Knox County. Given that he hadn't encountered any walkers, their home must be far from any cities deep in the forest. Rain began to fall, growing heavier with every step Gabriel took. He grabbed his raincoat from his bag, put it on, and decided to build a quick shelter. He gathered some materials from the woods, set up his camp, and lit a fire to stay warm. Sitting by the fire, he turned on his radio to check in with his dad.
Wall, this is Gabriel. Do you copy, Father?
I'm here, son. Are you all right? It's raining pretty hard. Is everything okay?
All clear here, Dad. Don't worry. I built myself a little shelter. I'm just about to eat my food by the fire.
All right, son. I always have my radio with me, and it's on. If you need anything, call me right away, okay?
Got it, Dad.
By the way, Gabriel, have you run into any of the walking dead?
No, I haven't. There's no sign of walkers around here.
Well, that's good news. Take care of yourself, son.
Will do, Dad. See you later.
Gabriel could feel his dad breathing a sigh of relief. Talking to him made Gabriel feel a lot better too. He ate a bit of his food by the fire and once his stomach was full and the rain stopped, he got back to his scouting trip. Gabriel walked a bit further, picking some mushrooms off the ground for dinner. Still no sign of any walkers, but there weren't even any animal tracks either. There was something deeply unnatural about this forest. He pushed a bit further east and found his first sign of life. Finding some deer droppings on the ground, Gabriel breathed a huge sigh of relief. Just seeing an animal track made him feel so much better. He thought about how incredibly impressed his father would be if he turned home with a deer. He started carefully following the tracks, ready for the hunt. Hearing a deer call nearby, Gabriel drew his crossbow and started moving carefully toward the sound. Seeing the deer made his heart race like crazy. He was trying to get a good angle for a clean shot. The deer ran off. Gabriel tracked it quietly, getting nice and close again. He took aim and loosed his shot. Gabriel was so mad at himself for missing from that close because of the adrenaline. He used the breathing exercises that taught him to calm his nerves, and then he started following the fleeing deer's tracks once more. Spotted the deer once more, he took carefully aim and released his second shot. But he missed the animal yet again. Completely furious, he started chasing after the running animal once more. He heard the deer behind the trees again and walked toward it without even blinking. "I'm not missing this time," he kept telling himself over and over. Shock completely woke Gabriel up. A zombie attacked at him from behind the trees. Thanks to his fast reflexes, Gabriel hit it with a first bolt. The walker stumbled but attacked again. When it took a second bolt, it still kept coming like it was nothing. Gabriel shoved the zombie back, knocked him to the ground, and finally drove a third bolt into his head. The movement stopped instantly. So everything that said is true, he thought. He had always believed his father, but living in a perfect house, living a life that people from the old days could only dream of, made it all feel like a story. Seeing a zombie attack him with his own eyes, the stories had finally become real. Gabriel stood over the dead man, examining the corpse. The flesh was rotting, and there were so many deep wounds. He couldn't believe the man was still moving with all that blood loss. The Knox Virus, something he had heard about 100 times from his dad's lessons, was right inside the corpse before him. Gabriel pulled himself together and went after the deer again. He wasn't going back home empty-handed tonight. This time, he began scanning the woods for his prey with far greater caution. When Gabriel found the deer again, his nerves were completely gone. His mind was as clear as still water. Exploring the outside world, facing raw reality, and encountering the walking dead had finally lifted the fog before his eyes. The fairy tale wonders that once occupied his thoughts had hardened into bricks, taking their place in his wall of reality. He felt himself changing, perceiving the world around him with entirely new eyes. The meat of the past had become flesh and bone. Gabriel slung the dead deer over his back and headed for the base. It was late, and he had to get home before it got dark. Thanks to his strong, athletic body, carrying the deer wasn't too hard for him. Gabriel felt a huge relief when he saw the wall. He knew he was safe now. There was no trace left of the excited youth who had eagerly stepped out of the house this morning. A completely different Gabriel, carrying the heavy burden of unavoidable truth upon his shoulders, was now walking back home.
Ah, my explorer is back home. Welcome, son.
Glad to be back, Dad. Look what I've brought you.
You hunted a deer on your very first run outside?
It was tough, Dad. The deer kept running, but I caught up to it in the end.
Well done, son. Congratulations. You've officially become a hunter.
Thanks, Dad.
Go on inside. I'll take care of the deer. You must be exhausted.
No, please, Dad. I can do it. I'm tired, but I still have the energy. I want to handle my own hunt.
All right, Gabriel. Never come between a hunter and his prey.
Thanks, Dad.
So, son, what did you get up to today? Tell me a bit about it.
I walked southeast for a few hours outside the base. We really do live in the middle of a massive forest, Dad.
Yes, we are right in the heart of the woods. That's why we are safe.
Then it started raining hard. I couldn't see well. It was difficult to walk. So I made a quick shelter and built a fire.
Right, you told me on the radio. It's raining hard tonight, too. Looks like a storm is coming.
After the rain stopped, I kept exploring. But this forest is weird, Dad. Almost no animals. The deer was the only thing I found. I feel a bit sad about killing it, but I didn't want to come home empty-handed.
Yes, that situation is indeed strange. But don't worry. As the walking dead gather in the cities, the wildlife population will keep growing more and more each year.
It wasn't easy to hunt. The trees were too thick to aim properly. I lost it twice, but my last shot hit it right in the heart. I hope it didn't suffer.
It sounds like the tracking techniques I taught you really paid off.
Of course, Dad. Without those lessons, it would be impossible.
Come on now, sit down. I'll serve the food. Let me feel useful for a change.
All right, Dad. Thanks.
After having a great dinner, the father and son watched a movie together. They were getting sleepy and it was already very late.
I really enjoyed this evening. We should spend more time together.
Absolutely, Dad. It felt really good. I'm tired today, but I always have energy for you.
Duncan was very disciplined, and Gabriel's whole childhood was spent on training. They didn't have much regular father-son time. Whenever training wasn't in session, Duncan would usually spend his time isolated in his room. But tonight, the father had rewarded his son's success with a beautiful evening.
I'm getting tired. I'm going to sleep now.
Okay, Dad.
At least you can relax now. You saw it yourself today. There are no zombies in the woods around here.
Actually, I killed one today.
Duncan was completely shocked. He stood there frozen for a while, staring at a single spot with his mouth open. Gabriel didn't understand why his dad was reacting like this. Waking up from his trance, his father finally spoke.
Didn't you promise to return immediately at the first sign of danger? Have you completely stopped listening to me?
I was hunting the deer, Dad. Before my last shot, it jumped out of the trees and attacked me. I just reacted and shot the zombie with my crossbow. It happened so fast.
Did you see any other zombies?
No, Dad. I only saw one and killed it.
Tell me the truth, Gabriel.
I am telling the truth, Dad.
My worst fear has come true.
What's going on, Dad? What are you so afraid of?
Thinking about his last words, Duncan realized he had let something slip and immediately pulled himself together.
I'm not scared of anything, Gabriel. I just got confused for a moment. We are safe here.
I saw the fear in your eyes, Dad. I can take the hardest truth. Believe me.
I am not hiding anything from you, Paul.
For as long as Gabriel knew, his dad always ended their arguments with the same word, Paul. Paul was Gabriel's first name, and he liked it more than Gabriel. But when his dad used that name, Gabriel knew he had to stop arguing and stay quiet.
I'm off to sleep. Good night.
Good night, Dad.
Gabriel always knew his dad was keeping secrets. Duncan was probably protecting him from the harsh truth. Sometimes knowing too much makes life unbearable, and Gabriel was used to seeing his dad carry that weight. That's why he hated the distance between them. He could never get close enough to have the real father-son relationship he wanted. But still, the simple dinner was the best night they ever had. No matter what, I love him. He's my father, he whispered to himself. Besides, in a world like this, who else did he have left to love? His mind completely chaotic from the strange conversation with his dad. He thought it was best to sleep and just end the day. Thinking about what his father said, he fell asleep.
Gabriel, wake up. Gabriel, wake up, son. Gabriel, wake up.
Dad, what's going on? Why are you dressed like that?
I need to go outside for a while.
What? Why?
We'll talk about this when I get back. Come on, get ready and help me out.
Dad, why are you going out in the storm? Have you lost your mind? At least wait for the weather to get better.
This is urgent. I have to go now.
Dad, what is going on? Please, just tell me.
I don't know when I'll be back. I hope it won't take too long. We'll talk when I return.
Then I'm coming too.
No, Paul. It's too dangerous. You have to stay and guard the wall. Can't you just trust the man who raised you for once? I'm faster on my own, and I'll be back sooner. Now go. Open the gate for me.
Damn it, Dad. Does this have to do with the walking dead I killed in the woods?
Yes and no. Save your questions for when I get back. Right now, I have to go.
Gabriel couldn't just accept this. He couldn't lose his father, but he couldn't disobey him either.
I have my radio with me, but I can't leave it on. I'll check in when I'm able. Gabriel, even if you don't hear from me, don't do anything reckless. Stay at the wall and wait for my return.
Gabriel remained silent.
Promise me, Gabriel.
You promise me that you'll come back.
I promise, son. I will come back. I love you, son.
Love you too, Dad.
Duncan left the base and disappeared into the trees. Gabriel's shock and sadness were impossible to put into words. Tears filling his eyes, Gabriel shut the gate of the wall. He started walking in fear, but his feet were moving on their own. He walked toward the place he always went to when he was down, ever since he was a kid. The storm was getting stronger. Standing at the end of the dock, looking at the water, he got lost in thoughts as deep as oceans. What was so urgent? What made his father live in such a rush? Where was he going? What did the zombie he killed in the woods have to do with this? Since he took the ATV, his destination had to be far away. Wasn't there nothing out there besides that? What was he going to do out there? What else was he hiding from Gabriel? There were too many questions and far too few answers. His chest tightening, Gabriel tried to pull himself together. Heartbroken, Gabriel couldn't hold back his tears any longer.
Please, just tell me what's on your mind. 'Cause I don't have time to figure it out. Figure it out. We haven't been our best for long. I think that we're just holding on to something that won't work out. Maybe we should walk away, say goodbye and go our separate ways. I can feel it deep inside. We will never work this out. We will never work this out. I can feel it deep inside. We will never work this out. We will never work this out. We're falling down. We're falling down. It's happening right now. I think we're falling down. I think we're falling down. I tried so hard to make you happy, and I know that you've tried your best as well to make me smile. And I can feel it deep inside. We will never work this out. We will never work this out. I can feel it deep inside. We will never work this out. We will never work this out. We're falling down. We're falling down. What's happening right now? I think we're falling down. 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 I think we're falling down.
It had been a whole month since Duncan left. Gabriel hadn't heard a single thing from him. His dad never used the radio. He had completely vanished. Every passing day, Gabriel felt more certain that something bad had happened, and he could barely stop himself from going out to look for him. Nearly losing his mind, he threw himself into work. Afraid to be alone with himself, he kept finding things to do around the base. But when night came, he felt the loneliness deep inside. Missing his dad and the pain of his absence was unbearable. One night, Gabriel had enough and couldn't resist the feeling that he had to do something. He decided to go into his dad's room to see if he could find anything about where he went. He knew entering his father's room without permission was forbidden, but these weren't normal times. How many more days would he waste time like this while his father was out there in danger? Of course the door was locked. Gabriel apologized to his dad in his mind and forced the lock with a screwdriver. Inside, there was nothing unusual. The room was just like always. He checked the closets, the desk, everywhere, but didn't find any note, map, or clue. Crushed by disappointment, his legs gave out and he sat on his dad's bed.
Dad, where are you? Why haven't you called? I miss you so much.
Stomping his foot out of the sadness and anger, Gabriel felt something weird under his foot. The floor wasn't wooden here, it was metal. He stood right up and moved his dad's bed aside. Lifting the rug, he found a metal hatch on the floor. When he raised the hatch, a massive wave of shock hits his whole body. A ladder went straight down. Carefully heading down the ladder, he found a coded door, and his disbelief reached its peak. Gabriel tried every code he could think of, but the door wouldn't open. He tried his birthday, his dad's birthday, founding year of United States, even the first day of the Knox Virus. Nothing worked. Just as he was about to give up, his mother's birthday crossed his mind. Entering the password as a last hope, Gabriel was stunned when the door unlocked and swung open. His father hadn't forgotten his mother after all. When Gabriel turned on the basement light, he couldn't believe his eyes.
down.